Hey, what's up? What's up? Back once again. Yep, it's been a it's been a minute. Well, let's just say a lot has happened since that time. So, yeah. Well, as you know, living in the Northeast, we got slammed with some snow, and I think it was about 18 inches. And yeah, it was pretty bad. Haven't gotten this in a long time. And I was, shoveling snow, putting salt down, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it was pretty much a workout, which is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about just basic fundamentals of starting out, getting fit. Being 40 years old and over. So first thing I'm going to start off with is understanding that when you start to work out, you don't want to, let's just say, use weights. Weights is not, excuse me, I had to walk over some ice. Weights are not conducive to someone that's a beginner, or if you're 40-year-old plus and you haven't worked out in a while, or maybe you was a former athlete. I wouldn't start out with that. And I think most people would probably know not to do that. But I also think at the end of the day, we have to understand that using our body weight is very essential to the beginning stages of what we do. It's just like looking at basic body movement, for sure. And when you're doing basic body movement, you want to be able to capture, like the things that you normally do throughout the day, like, sit down, stand up, reaching over your head, right? And the most important one is bending over and picking things up, because as you probably know, most people, when they tweak their back or hurt their back, they tend to bend over the wrong way to grab something. And you're really supposed to like bend your legs and bend your knees to pick up things on the ground. So yeah. So when you are doing bodyweight exercises, you're literally training your body to do the basic essential things. And once again, this is for people who are 40 years old and up. So that's just the basic fundamentals of what it's like to being fit. I want to speak about being 40 and older. Now, for those who have around 35, late 30s, you may notice some changes in your body. And, this is for male and females. But when you reach 40, yeah, you're going to start noticing some changes in your body. Certain things won't let's say react as quickly. Getting out of bed, seems a little bit more harder than normal. You probably are feeling a little bit more tired than normal. That's not to say you can't keep up what you used to do when you was in your 20s to mid 30s, and hell, sometimes even your late 30s. But the body is changing, and you have to change with your body. So when you're 40-year-old and over, you've probably noticed those things. Comment below if you have noticed. Matter of fact, once you turned 40, you started noticing changes in your body. Another thing I want to say is when you're 40 years old and older, pardon me guys, it's a little cold out here, so the lips probably aren't moving as good as they would like. That's once again being 40 years old and over. Now, but when you're 40 years old and over, there are going to be certain joints, certain muscles that just ain't going to perform as much as you would like or you so used to doing. So that's why I say now your body starts to gear down, because you're hitting a stage in life where by 40 is like starting to decline, and then usually by 50 you're entering that, well, it's going to just decline more. And if you don't do something about it starting in your 40s, by the time you get to your 50s, you're just going to really end up with like joint pains, you know, neck pains, muscle pains and strains and stuff like that. Hell, just even walking down the street, and you hit a bump, sprain your ankle real quick. Like, yeah, just things happen. So these are the fundamental things, once again, that you're going to notice when you get to those ages. And if you have already, then that's usually the time when you got to start to tell yourself, okay, I need to start doing more with my body. If you already have been doing it, kudos to you. But for those who've never have done it, or never worked out, who've never worked out and have never, touched a squat or have done a squat or have done a push-up or anything from a calisthenic perspective, then yeah, the body's going to start to warn you. So that's just the basic fundamentals of fitness, and also the basic fundamentals of what you're going to notice when you turn 40 years old or older. All right, what should you do when you turn 40 and over, 40 plus year old people? What should you do? Well, what you should do is start with the basic essentials. Just keep it simple, guys. You don't got to rush. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to go in the weight room or go to a gym and start pumping like this crazy iron, especially if you're a former athlete. Listen, guys, I used to be a former athlete. Well, I am a former athlete. And I'm telling you right now, it's not the safest way to do things, because your bones get more denser, your muscles aren't as strong, your tendons, tend to get a little weaker. Now, if you've been banging the weights, pretty much most of your life, even still with that, you got to calm down, because you can't just, if you've been bench, okay, I'm going to give you an example. Right now, if I was to get on the bench, I could bench 225. Now, when I was 35 years old, benching 225 pounds, I felt good. When I was in my 40s and I benched 225, that felt a little different. My tendons was like the end part of my muscle fibers, man, them things was hurting. And that's because it's not that you're not strong, or it's not that you don't have the physique. It's just you're getting older. So do you still can bench 225? Yeah, but you still have to start doing exercises that will help make you a lot more better when you still want to just stay at 225. So that's just an example. So with that being said, I would probably rather start out with just bodyweight exercises, especially if you've never started, if you've never worked out before. Start with the bodyweight exercises. Once again, just your simple squats, push-ups, lunges, sit-ups, and a plank. Just those 4 to 5 things right there will get the ball rolling, especially if you're a beginner, and you're 40 years old and over. So I would recommend that at first, and I think that's the best way. And then you can start adding on other things. Listen, man, it's all over the internet. You can start adding other things like, jumping jacks, maybe some high knee running, jogging in place, things of that nature, where you're going to be jumping or doing a light jump. So it's not that hard. It's just very simple stuff. So as a beginner, if you're 40 years old or older, definitely take the time to just do just basic exercises. If you're up there like in the 60s and 70s, and you have some ailments and you never worked out before and you want to do those things standing up, then I would suggest that you get a chair and do stand-up, sit-downs in a chair. You could do lunges in a chair. There's certain things you can do that will replace what you're doing if you was to stand up and do it, until you get strong enough where you can stand up and do it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. I hope this brought value to you. And if you have any questions or comments about those things, just hit me down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to try to answer. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video.